Miss Bennett, and welcome to 3rd grade at River's Edge Elementary, where we're learning about poetry. So, we've been talking about poetry for the past few days. What are some things you know about poems? Devin, what's one thing?
So, one thing about poems, there are 3 R's that go into poems: rhyme, rhythm, and repetition.
Okay, so we got rhyme, rhythm, repetition. What else, Rudy?
In poems, you have rhyming words, or you can have stanzas.
Okay, Shama?
Each poem sometimes has rhyme schemes if they rhyme.
Okay, and I love that Shama said they sometimes. Do all poems have to rhyme? No. So we had that poem, do you remember the poem about fog the other day? Where it was like the fog came in on the, something like a cat. Yes, and Jammin' yesterday didn't rhyme. So we have some poems that rhyme, some poems that don't rhyme. Carter?
Sometimes they don't always make sense.
Sometimes poems don't seem to make sense, and that's one of the reasons why we learn about poetry, because the more you read poems, the more you kind of can guess at what the poet's trying to say. What else, Ishan?
So also the poetry, it can sometimes have nonsense words. Remember we watched a poem, and then it had blabber, dagger, all those funny.
And when we said the Jabberwocky,
yeah.
Wait, what word? There was definitely some words in there.
Yeah.
He rested by the tum-tum tree.
Yeah.
The tum-tum tree.
Yes.
There's no such thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aksha?
If a word rhymes like that poem Crocodile.
Okay, yeah.
You should keep a letter next to it.
Right, when we're talking about rhyme scheme, we're looking for a pattern in rhymes. When we read the crocodile, did we have an exciting rhyme scheme here?
No.
Not quite. Everything rhymed. We had crocodile, smile, Nile, while. And notice that we're looking at the end of the line. When we're looking for a rhyme scheme, there might be rhyming words, so we have smile and smile down here. But when we're looking at the rhyme scheme, we just want to look at the end of the lines. Ainsley?
Stanzas can be 3 or 2 or more.
Yeah. So
it could be one stanza.
So remember, our stanza is kind of like the paragraph in a poem. You can have a poem that's only 1 stanza. You can have one that's 2. You can have one where some stanzas are longer than others, or you can have one where it's 1 big one and 1 tiny one, things like that. The last one, and then we're going to look at a poem.
Someone can say a word over and over.
A poem can say a word over and over again. What do we call that? Repetition. So today our poem of the day, I got it from Epic, and this is a book that you guys can look at. It's called Everything is a Poem, and it's by J. Patrick Lewis. So our poem today, I'm going to find it first. Hold, please. Okay, it's called A Tomcat Is. Do you know what a tomcat is?
No.
Anna, do you have a guess?
Cat.
It's just a cat. I mean, it's a cat. We got it.
It's Tom the cat from Tom and Jerry.
And so Tom and Jerry, they call him Tom probably because tomcat, it's like an old-timey name for a boy cat. They called him a tomcat. So we're going to read this poem. I'm going to read it, and I want you on your index card to write down anything you notice about the poem. It could be, do you see one of these 3 R's? Do you see rhyme, rhythm, and repetition? It could be, is there a line that you like in the poem? Anything that comes to your mind when we read this. Okay, so a tomcat is night watchman of corners, caretaker of naps, leg wrestler of pillows, depressor of laps. The bird-watching bandit on needlepoint claws, the chief of detectives on marshmallow paws. A master at whining and dining on mouse, designer of shadows that hide in the house. A crafty yarn spinner, a stringer half strung, a buttermilk mustache, a sandpaper tongue. The dude in the alley, the duke on the couch, affectionate fellow, occasional grouch. So I want you to think on that poem for a second. If you notice anything, you can write it on your index card. It could be if you notice any words that rhyme or any repetition. Maybe it's a line that you like. I particularly like right here where it talked about marshmallow paws, because what are cats' paws like?
Soft.
They're soft and they're kind of rounded like a marshmallow, and they're small.
And plus, they're very low sounding.
Yeah, and imagine if you had marshmallows on your feet. Would you be loud or quiet? quiet. So it's kind of another thing about how the cat is quiet. So
Especially if it like covers your whole foot.
if you covered your whole foot in marshmallows, you'd be sticky but quiet. Okay, what are some things that you noticed? Anybody notice any rhyme or repetition? Ruhi?
I noticed like there's like a rhythm.
There is a rhythm, and that has to do with the number of syllables. Did anybody count syllables here? I think if we count them, there's a similar syllable in each line. Night watchman of coroners,
6.
caretaker of naps, 5, leg wrestler of pillows, depressor of laps. So it's 6,
5 or
5, 6, 5. So it has a pattern there, and that's where the rhythm comes from. Owen?
I realized that all of them are an A, B, C, B pattern.
Okay, they have an ABCB rhyme scheme. Awesome job. So when he says ABCB, he means that the first line doesn't have any rhymes. He's A. Caretaker of naps, that's B. Pillows, C. Laps rhymes with naps. So ABCB. So he means the second and the fourth line's line. Perfect. In all of them, they're like that. Riddy, what else?
I noticed that there are 5 stanzas.
There are 5 stanzas, and they put them in an interesting way here, but totally 5 stanzas. Coven?
And they're very small stanzas.
And they're small. They don't have a lot of words in them, and they're only 4 lines. Akshara?
That I realized that house and grouch rhyme.
House and grouch, yeah. Couch and grouch, yeah. So couch, what does it mean to be a grouch?
Oh,
You're cranky or grumpy. So why does it say that a cat is an occasional grouch? Do we know that word? Occasional, Carter?
They have a temper and they like scratch things.
And sometimes. Can cats be perfectly nice?
Yeah.
Yeah. So affectionate fellows, so they can be super loving, but sometimes they're a grouch. Sometimes they're kind of grumpy. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's an occasional grouch because sometimes like if mouse like pops up into the house, they're like and they like, start to chase the thing. And then it said night watchman of the corner. So like
Yeah.
maybe I have a guess, maybe like his like bedroom or like his like pillow where he sleeps on or like his box is like in the corner of some place, and then right next to him there might be like a mouse like hole, right? So he's like watching.
Yeah, I like that he chose the word night watchman. When are cats more awake?
Night.
Night. Cats, they have good vision at night. They're probably meant to be nocturnal, even though a lot of our house cats, we wake them up and pat them during the day. But a night watchman, a person who watches things. What this poem did, what I really like about this one, is that he's found a lot of different ways to describe a cat. If I hadn't told you that this was called a tomcat would you have known it was about a cat?
Yes.
No. Yeah.
What are some clues that it's about a cat? Shama, do you see one?
Like it's like quiet. It's a night watchman of corners and dining on a mouse. So
Dining on a mouse is a big clue. Needle point claws, bird watching.
Also pictures of the cat.
I know, but even without the pictures, I feel like we could have gotten there.
It says, it literally in the title, it says a tomcat.
I know, but if you didn't know the title, I still think you could have guessed it. Even though, what about a sandpaper tongue?
Like,
What are cats? Have you ever been?
Because like cats have like sharp like stuff on
Have
their
you ever
tongue.
been licked by a cat?
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you've been licked by a
I
cat.
think so, yeah.
The cat's tongue is rough. So if you haven't been licked by a cat, it's not like a dog or
It
like your
feels
own
rough.
tongue. It's like rough on your hand, and it's to help the cat groom itself so it can get all the dirt out of its fur.
Yes,
But a
it's
sandpaper tongue. Why do you think it says that it has a buttermilk mustache?
Yes, because it
Really?
drinks the buttermilk.
Yeah.
Well, then it could have some buttermilk on its like mouth.
Okay, so cats, we often say that cats like milk, and so
Yeah, but
buttermilk
actually not.
mustache,
They can't drink it.
they're not supposed to. You're exactly right.
Because they're lactose intolerant.
Yeah, but we still say that. It's weird because you're right. They're not supposed to drink it, but we still have cats and milk. It's kind of a connection that people usually make. So I like this poem a lot. It uses a lot of good vocabulary, a lot of good adjectives. Instead of saying a cat, they call it a crafty yarn spinner because it might play with yarn. Or the dude in the alley. We call them alley cats sometimes when you have stray cats. I like to hang out in the alley. Do you know what? Like stray dogs?
Like in India, there's lots of stray dogs and stuff.
Yeah. So oftentimes here we have a lot of cats, and it's good in some ways because they're catching all the rats. But in other cases, we would rather have fewer stray cats, but we still have them a lot in alleys.
named PC, and like it was a stray until like the store, like a store adopted it. And but this cat was like so careful because it has been living like in the outside its whole life. That even if a car is coming, it would know, and it would quickly go to the other side.
Yeah, so stray animals have to be kind of on their guard. They have to be smart about things, and that's a good point. Okay, Ainsley, last one before we move on.
I have a couple things about the poem.
Okay, yeah, I'll pull it back up.
Mouse and house rhyme.
Mouse and house, totally.
The lines are short and longer.
Okay, yeah, and that's how, another way how the pattern, the repetition and the rhythm comes in, kind of the shorter and longer lines.
A is repeated in the like fourth one up there.
In the fourth one up here, this one? Yes, that's a great catch, Ainsley. These ones all start with A. A crafty yarn spinner, a stringer high strung, a buttermilk mustache, a sandpaper tongue. That's great. So it repeats that A. And strung and tongue. Notice also strung and tongue, those are rhyming words that they're not spelled the same, but they still rhyme. A lot of times people have a hard time with that word tongue, T-O-N-G-U-E. We wouldn't normally think that spells tongue. Tungui.
What's the fourth word?
In the third stanza, what's the fourth word? This one?
No, in the first line.
First line, a master at whining. Because cats will whine at you. If a cat wants something, he'll whine aloud at you. He'll meow a lot at you. All right, so now you're gonna try looking at a poem on your own. But before we do anything else, I'm gonna tell you just the title because we have to make a prediction. And when do you make a prediction? Before you read. So there are actually two poems you're gonna look at, but we're just gonna do one at the moment. It's called A Worm in My Pocket. So I want you on your think sheet, I'll write it up here. You're gonna write the title, A Worm in My Pocket. All right, so now you have the poem and I have a stopping point for you. I'm gonna get you to work with the person next to you. And so some of you might be in a group of 3, some of you are gonna be in a group of 2. Just do whatever feels right for where you are. You have 2 poems on your paper. I only want you to start with A Worm in My Pocket. So you're gonna read A Worm in My Pocket and you'll see that I put a little red dot where you should pause and make your as you read prediction. So on your sheet you have a spot to predict midway through. That's where you're gonna stop. So with your partner, I want you to read the poem out loud because that's how you can kind of get the rhythm of a poem. And then you can start making your predictions and going. You can start, I'll walk around and help if you need help. Are you working with Ayla or with Shama and Nadia? Okay, you work with Ayla then.
Well, she's safe, and I show her my find.
Yes, you stop right there.
In my pocket to show her what I caught.
Okay, and that's where we stop.
She said when I show her
So we
my find, will she let me keep it?
One day on my way home from school.
I think she'll mind because, like, I don't think Sarah would want to worm around the house.
Will she say when I show her my find? Will she let me keep it? I hope she won't mind. So now I want you to make your prediction. What do you think is going to happen?
I caught. What will she say when I show her
Or
my?
him keep it? Write that down as your as you read. Yes. Okay, so you think the mom's going to be...
Who would want to worm in there? I think the mom wants to step on it.
You think the mom will step on it, B?
Yeah.
How old do you guys think the kid is? Youngish?
I think the kid is 9 years old because 9-year-old kids are not scared of spiders, so maybe she's 9 years old, so she's not scared of worms.
Okay, so she's not scared of them, so she would put it in her pocket?
I'm scared of them because my friends make me pick bugs up even though they're
So your friends make you pick bugs up, so you're not scared of worms either. But that works. So an 8 or 9 year old, that might be true.
My
Yes, me.
sister brought a frog in the house and she said, I have an addict. I'm gonna make the frog gone. She stepped on the frog and then she's like, see, it's gone.
So once you've made your mid-poem predictions, you can keep reading, and then you can think about your conclusions and
Mom was
themes.
in the kitchen.
Also, your
I
stanzas
showed
and
her
rhymes. So finish.
I
the
showed
poem
her what
first.
I'd found. She screamed, "No way! Put it back in the ground!" Now I'm so angry.
Yeah, Mom wasn't happy
She
about that.
always
So
says
now,
no.
once you've read the whole thing,
She won't
you
let
can
me
make your
keep it.
conclusions.
Then I will just go.
It could be more about
So
goals.
me
It
and my
could be
mom
about what
packed
might
a
happen next
sandwich or
week. It
two,
will go for
ran
another
out the
in
door,
future.
and down the street. We both sold.
I guess my pocket was not the best place to be.
Okay, so conclusion. Who is the narrator? What is he or she like? What might happen next? So what do you think? So what do you guys think? What might happen? What do you guys think will happen?
The mom will be sorry, but she might buy a dog for him.
It does rhyme perfect.
So where am I going this way?
I know, but he kept it on the ground.
Maybe the mom will be worried because she can't find he or she.
Ruhi, what is your prediction?
My prediction is that maybe her mom will scream and then she'll tell her not to keep it.
Maybe
And then she'll put it in her pocket.
maybe she'll just go crazy and like
Either.
she can't
Just
find
whatever you
her
think makes more sense.
son or her daughter.
So some people were given like a boy
the
vibe, some
sound
people were
line
given
will get her
it's
back
okay, either
like
way. They don't, but you could kind of guess an age. You can also guess that
Can't be like because that's one
she's probably too old. Do you think he would do it again, or do you think he learned not to mess with it? Yeah, because it was like, you can tell right here where he says, I guess that my pocket was not the best place to be. So that also goes with the theme, kind of like leave nature leave nature alone. Yeah.
Wait, we just found some more that we made fun. Brandon hand.
Yes. Okay, school and cool. The end words rhyme. School and cool. Hand and grand. Lot and caught.
Yeah.
Lot and caught are like those close rhymes. Lot and caught. You guys got real quiet. Lot and caught. Okay, if you've read the whole poem, now you can write your conclusions. So, what do you think about the narrator? Do you think he's going to do it again?
Did you also do that?
Do you think what?
No, maybe also
You can also do the theme, and I actually say there is a theme on this one. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Do you think the do you think the narrator learned his lesson? Yeah. How do you know? What line tells you that the narrator has learned something about? Okay, well the stench was getting there when he smelled the stench.
I know what it is.
But there's something else. Devin, what did it say?
I laid him in the dirt and let him go free. I guess that my pocket was not the best place to be.
Yes. So right at the end there, he learned like, oh, maybe this wasn't a good idea. All right. So write your conclusion. Thank you for watching. Go Eagles!